Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel, the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. Obviously, this is Pro Wrestling Logic. This is the Impact Report for the 14th of April, 2022. On the BTI pre-show, Knockouts Tag Team Champion Madison Rayne will face former champion Jesse Mckay, and that does happen. Madison Rayne with the influence defeat Jesse Mckay with Cassie Lee on BTI after the match. Both influence and the inspiration reject Caleb, who cut a promo on the crowd and then gets destroyed by Morrissey, who comes out to open Impact. Morrissey powerbombs Caleb through a table. I hope this doesn't mean the end for Caleb. Caleb is a good talent who I think Impact has sorely underused. Opening video recaps the ongoing feud between Moose and Josh Alexander and how it's escalated in the last couple of weeks, as well as last week's match where Alexander cracks the ankle of Fulton. Show opened with Morrissey in the ring. He talks about being back in the arena after the last time he was there. He says now that he's back, he's clean and sober. Crowd gives him a huge ovation for that, and that brings tears to his eyes. He thanks the crowd for supporting him through his hard time and not leaving him all alone in the world. Brian Myers interrupts Morrissey mid-speech. Myers says he wasn't sorry for Morrissey. Morrissey had been handed a golden career, but he'd thrown it away for a good time. Myers then said Morrissey was a menace to Impact and threatened him, and he'll leave him half dead in the back of the arena. That's a bit violent, isn't it? Anyway, Morrissey then gets on his hands on Myers and attacked him, and then tried to put him through a table. Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona attacked Morrissey. Myers and Cardona teamed up and put Morrissey through a table instead. Women's champion, ROH Women's Champion Deonna Purrazzo defeats Willow Nightingale to retain the championship. This is another champ versus champ challenge by Purrazzo, who defends the AAA Reyes de Rey championship against Taya Valkyrie at Rebellion. Deonna Purrazzo, I think, is one of the better women in wrestling right now that doesn't have a major contract. Anyway, she must also deal with the Mercedes Martinez issue that became where Mercedes became the women's champion at Supercard of Honor. Nightingale is also the first woman that Martinez defeated at the Supercard of Honor deal. Purrazzo starts the match and beats up Nightingale, but Nightingale does make a comeback, and then the cartwheel catches Purrazzo with a super kick. Purrazzo works over Nightingale's arm after ramming her against the corner post. Nightingale then gets a couple of hope spots in and counters the Fujiwara armbar and hits the backbreaker into a near fall. Finish sees Purrazzo block a moonsault into a powerbomb. Nightingale and then locks on the Venus de Milo. Commentary stated that Purrazzo's 7-0 record of being champion. We get a recap of Mickie James and Nick Aldis defeating Cardona and Chelsea Green at the Multiverse of Matches. Afterwards, Miller interviews James about being done with Green. James then said that it's the other way around, and they're not done at all. She wanted to teach Green a lesson. Chelsea Green confronts James, and they start brawling until Cardona and Myers attack. Miller then interviews Tasha Steelz about defending the Women's Championship against Rosemary at Rebellion. Steelz said she wasn't scared of Rosemary, Decay, or anything else. Steelz then talked about her history with them and said she lost the tag team titles against Decay, but now things have changed and she's on top. Decay interrupts, and they do a Magic Television deal here. Rosemary didn't say much, only that Steelz will get a taste of her in Decay. ROH World Champion Jonathan Gresham defeats Rocky Romero non-title match. They worked together a couple of weeks ago at Honor No More with the Honor No More story, so the match comes from that competitive edge. Match goes back and forth, trading momentum. Gresham tries to take out the match with Romero trying to pull Gresham into a striking battle, and Gresham eventually tricks Romero and drops him with a dropkick. Gresham then controls the action and then targets Romero's arm and then locks on the octopus hold. Romero turns it into a sidewalk slam. Romero gets a little bit of strike exchange going his way and hits forever clotheslines. Gresham then chops him until they both collapse. Romero then hits sliced bread, but Gresham blocks, and Gresham then comes to the floor and then hits a Rana back in the ring. Romero hits sliced bread for a near fall, followed by a running knee for another near fall. Gresham then comes back with the lion salt and the tope suicida back in the ring and then hits the pinfall. Match is really, really good. Gresham, to me, is the best technical wrestler in the country right now, maybe even the world. Although Zack Sabre Jr., Bryan Danielson, and John Gresham, all individuals who I think would be in contender for that during the match. Eddie Edwards watches in the back. Edwards will be facing Gresham at Rebellion. After the match, Romero asked Gresham for a shot at the world title down the line. Gresham seemed okay with that. Video package of Josh Alexander talking about Christian Cage and beating him for the title and losing it immediately to Moose after Moose endangers Alexander's family and tough road he had to go through to get back to this level. Mike Bailey and Ace Austin talk about Fulton being taken out so he wasn't going to be there at Rebellion, implying that they needed to work together against Trey Miguel. Bailey didn't get the hint very well here. Alex Shelley with Chris Sabin defeats Steve McLean. McLean promised that things are going to go in his direction. Match starts pretty hot with both men exchanging strikes, leading to Shelley taking control early and bringing McLean down to the mat. McLean uses his power advantage to get Shelley off balance, but then he didn't catch him with the back elbow the way he wanted to, finally managing to cut him off. Shelley then regains some momentum, sends McLean to the floor, and lands a couple of kicks and injuring McLean's hand pretty viciously there. Back in the ring, Shelley works over the hand and stomps on it and works over the elbow. McLean then turns things around and hits a dive to the outside, outsmarts Shelley with his attack. Back in the ring, Shelley and McLean then work back and forth. McLean then gets a near fall and a backbreaker. Shelley then tries to come back with sliced bread, but McLean turns it around and hits a crosshair spear in the corner. Shelley hits a couple of forearms, dropping McLean, and hits a couple more kicks and hits the sliced bread for a near fall. Lands another kick, but fails to, or hits the shell shock. McLean then hits a running knee and a backplex on the apron. Apron spots are useless. Anyway, McLean distracts himself with Sabin, allowing Shelley to recover and hit him with the sliced bread on the floor. Shelley then fails to hit the foot stomp and reverses McLean into a pin with feet on the ropes, but Sabin is there to break up the pin, allowing Shelley to hit the shell shock for the win. Decent enough match. Recap from Madison: Rayne versus Jesse Mckay from BTI. Turning on Caleb, Rayne gets approached by Jalise Shaw, who makes fun of her for losing. Caleb, a video package retelling the story of how Moose came about being the Impact World Champion, winning the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and then pinning Josh Alexander soon after. Honor No More Bullet Club promo, not a fan of this. Honor No More comes out to the ring. Edwards then talks about history at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. In the city gave birth to Ring of Honor. He said Honor No More knew, however, that the fans were the most fickle of them all. Mike Bennett takes the microphone, and Bennett said that he made his ROH debut in this very same building. Back then, all of them turned their back on him like they did to ECW and ROH once too. Taven also ran down the crowd and runs down ROH for making bad decision after bad decision. He carried ROH on their back. Bullet Club interrupts Honor No More and then beat them up, and Bennett and Taven interfered. Good Brothers challenged them for the challenge for the tag titles. White corrected Honor No More, telling them that they're not the best because the Bullet Club are the best in the business. Gallows said that Taven and Bennett were put on the map after he and Anderson defeated them in Japan in 2015. Why in the world are we worried about Japan? Honestly, like why in the world are we worried about that in this country on a show that doesn't do 200,000 viewers? It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so they should be thankful to the Good Brothers. Anderson makes fun of Honor No More because they're like toys that no one wanted to play with. Bullet Club will forever be the coolest toy in the chest. And Maria reiterated and told them that Honor No More is here to stay. Chris Bay takes over the mic and challenged Honor No More to a fight. Everybody goes face to face and they stand 6-on-4. Turns into a brawl. Suddenly Jonah makes his entrance and everybody's ready to fight. Jonah then comes out for the main event. This is Jonah versus PCO2. This is a rematch. Match is pretty much a hoss fight, back and forth. Both men striking. And PCO's old school attack. Jonah then sends PCO to the floor, only to get pulled back in and continue the striking battle on the floor. Things turn bad for Jonah. He gets rammed into the ring post following a shoulder tackle by PCO. PCO is selling his injury to his neck for a good bit, and then he uses duct tape on his neck to keep things in place, but he ends up giving Jonah time to recover and takes him down. Jumping shoulder block from the apron. Jonah worked over PCO with chops and a bear hug. Jonah targets PCO's neck and takes him down with a buckle bomb. I hate that move, but PCO takes down Jonah with a shoulder block. Match goes back to a strike exchange. Jonah hits a tombstone piledriver on PCO and a kick out at a 1 count, so we've killed the move. PCO makes a comeback and drops Jonah with a DDT following a top rope crossbody for 2 counts, so we've also killed Big Man High Flying. PCO then hits a couple of headbutts from the ropes, but only gets a 2 count. PCO finally goes for the moonsault. Jonah finally rolls out of the way. PCO then goes to the apron for the deanimator, but then Jonah moves, follows, dropping PCO back on the rail against the ring post and finished him with the tsunami for the pin. PCO sets up so Jonah can take him down again, and PCO then set up, but this time Jonah attacked him with a chair repeatedly. PCO keeps moving, so Jonah finishes the job with the tsunami on the chair, and then PCO stops moving. I guess this is fine, but it's certainly it's a slog of a show to get through, in all honesty, and I don't expect that to change. We'll be back with more right after this.